Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I'm your host, Ariana Joy Christie, and I am so glad that you are here. This is a space to inspire, to learn, to grow, and to challenge. Get ready to fill your cup and spread a little joy along the way. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I am recording a solo episode today, which doesn't happen often. I love to have a guest with me. I find it sometimes kind of awkward to talk just by myself, so that's why I love to have a guest. I also am an avid learner. I feel like I can always learn something from somebody else, and so I'm so intrigued by what other people are doing, what their values are, things they believe in. And so that's why I love interviewing people. But today is going to be a little solo because I feel like I haven't really talked to you guys in long form about me or my life lately. And I didn't ask me anything on my Instagram stories last week, and there were lots of questions and lots of very similar questions. That I wanted to address, and I've been wanting to address it for quite some time now, and I just haven't really known how I want to go about it. And so it sounds like it's a big thing. It's really not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal in the way that I think, in the fundamentals that I believe in, and in the messaging of this podcast. And so that's why I thought that this was a good platform to chat a little bit longer form about self-care, number one, because as you remember, this podcast is called Your Cup of Joy, and it's all about filling your cup and really debunking the myth that self-care is selfish. Because for a very long time, I fully believed that to be a good mom, I needed to put everybody else before myself, and I needed to be selfless. And I realized that that changed who I was as a person, and it made me not be a very nice human being. And so I didn't really like that. And I wanted to share with the world what I wanted to learn. And I think when I started this podcast, I was still in a place of I wanted to believe that self-care wasn't selfish. And I knew it, but I didn't fully believe it. And I think it's one thing for you to know in your head and your mind something like that, but then to live it out and fully believe it, I think takes practice. It takes willpower. It takes a lot of courage. And so I'm working on that, but I do feel like I'm now in a better place of taking care of myself and of being confident in that decision, which I think is the main piece for me. You have to feel good about the things you're doing and the decisions that you're making, or else they don't feel authentic to you. And so I do feel like I'm now in that place where I feel more in tune with my values, meeting my daily life, and that being aligned. And I think the alignment is this really important piece that we miss a lot of the time. And so I'm very excited to share with you guys today and to talk about my self-care journey and also my weight loss journey, because I think that falls hand in hand. And I want to start by saying this episode is not about diets. It's not about workout plans. It's not about the number on the scale. It's actually not even about weight loss. I think it's fully about reclaiming yourself. I think I just found myself again. I fell in love with myself again, and I'm feeling good about that, and I want to share it because I do have questions all the time. So I did this Ask Me Anything last week, probably just a few days ago, and 90% of the questions were, how did you lose weight? How much weight did you lose? What have you been doing? Share your meal plan with us. Share your exercise plan. And of course, the big one that everybody and their mother has asked me this year, are you on Ozempic or some type of medication? You can't just be working out and eating right and losing weight or changing your body composition. And so I'm going to address all of those things today in this episode. We're going to chat all about self-care, all about finding ourselves. But I really do want to highlight that even though weight loss is a topic here, because yes, I have lost weight, this is not about the weight. And for me, it's never been about the weight. like that is a byproduct of me just totally reclaiming myself and practicing what I preach, taking care of myself, valuing myself as a human being, my mind and my body. And that's what I hope that you take from this episode today. I will put like a trigger warning that if this is triggering for you, or if weight loss is something that, you don't like to talk about, totally fine. You can listen to the next episode or the last episode instead. Don't feel like you have to stick around. But if you are interested, or you're one of those people who have been asking, or maybe it's not weight loss you're thinking about, but maybe you really just want to put yourself first for a little bit. And that might not even be exercise. Maybe it's something else. Like, I think this message can still be for you. So thank you for being here. If you are, thank you for supporting my journey. If you have been, and thank you for listening to this episode. So, yes, I have lost weight. I think people started noticing maybe like end of January, around my birthday time, that I had started to lose weight, and I have lost over 55 pounds since probably the end of last year. I think I started to really just focus on feeling better. I was really not in a good place, and I wanted to change that. And so, 55 pounds is the amount that I have lost to date. I don't always weigh myself. I don't always really care about weighing myself. It's more for me how I feel mentally. I think it gives me like this mental clarity, which we'll get to. But that is the weight, 55 pounds plus. Are you on Ozempic? No. And I think that it's been hard for me to answer this question, and I haven't answered it publicly or addressed it publicly, even though it's been asked so many times, because I don't think there's anything wrong with being on Ozempic. I know many people who take Ozempic or something similar to that, GLP-1 or whatever it's called. I don't know a lot about it because I haven't researched it, because I'm not interested in it. Because for me, I don't think that that's what I was looking for. I wasn't looking to necessarily lose weight. I was looking to be the healthiest version of myself and to take care of myself. So no, I'm not taking any drugs. But if you are, and if that's what's right for you, I don't want you to feel bad or feel shameful. Like, it's almost this thing that is asked with a stigma associated to it. And I don't believe that should be true, because like I said, I know people who are on it. I know people whose lives have been changed by it, who feel better, whose bodies feel better. I know it's used for many different things, not only weight loss. So again, if you are on any types of drugs that make you feel better, good, do that. To answer everybody's question of, am I taking Ozempic or any drug to make me feel better? No, I'm not. But again, I don't feel like that's bad or that there's anything wrong with that in any sense. I do want to talk a little bit about before I address kind of like what I've been doing and what kind of lifestyle changes I've had. Because that's where it started. Like, my whole life, when I say my whole life, I literally mean from the moment that I could walk and talk, probably before I could talk, I knew I wanted to be a mom. Like, I always was playing with baby dolls. I was always intrigued by babies. I volunteered at the nursery when I was little at my church because I wanted to look after babies. I took the babysitting course the second I was old enough to take it. I started babysitting then. I was a nanny. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. I just knew that my life purpose was to be a mom. And I know that that's not for everybody, but in my heart and my soul, I knew that I wanted to be a mother. And I remember even on my first date with Mike telling him, like, I want to have 5 kids. Like, I love kids. I feel like my purpose is to be a mom. And so I was really excited about potentially being a mother. And I just thought that that was like the greatest gift in the world if I could get pregnant and have a baby. And I had a lot of self-doubt, a lot of things in my life that had happened where I thought, you know, how am I going to be able to have a baby? Will my body be able to carry a human being? Um, will my body be able to carry a human being? Will my body be able to carry a human being? Will my body be able to carry a human being? Will my body be able to carry a human being? Will my body be able to carry a human being? Will my body be able to carry a human being? if not, am I going to just, what am I going to do? How am I going to become a mom? And I want to become a mom. And so we got very lucky and got pregnant just after a few months of trying with twins. And as many of you know, because you've heard my story before, we did give birth to twins during a pandemic. It was a lot wild of an experience. No one could really be there. It was a different experience than I had ever imagined or hoped for or thought it would be. It was isolating. It was lonely. Obviously, the pandemic put an extra layer on that, but I think there were also, many misconceptions about um, the what we think motherhood and early postpartum will be like and what it actually is. And I think that really messed me up. If I'm being honest and open and raw here, like I struggled a lot postpartum. And I think because I had in my mind a story of what I thought my life would be with kids, and it wasn't, it almost amplified the feelings that I was having. So, like, yes, I felt lonely, but I think because I felt like there was going to be so much support and people around all the time, and then there wasn't, that amplified the loneliness that I felt. And it wasn't that people weren't around, because my family and friends were extremely supportive and they were physically there. I just mentally was not in a good space. I had severe anxiety. I was having intrusive thoughts all the time. And these were things that I didn't know happened. I had heard of postpartum depression, but I didn't necessarily feel depressed in those early days. I just thought the feelings I was having were normal because nobody had told me otherwise. And it took me quite a while to realize, like, no, I shouldn't picture dropping my kid down the stairs every time I walk down the stairs. Like, that's not normal. I shouldn't, like, picture my kids in, distress or in a bad situation or not okay when I'm doing everyday things. And so I ended up getting support and help. I had a trauma therapist actually that I saw who was incredible, and she really helped me through this. And I give myself a lot of grace because I know, like, a month in NICU, split between hospitals, not being able to hold your babies, feeling like you can't even change their diapers, like, those are wild things to go through. So I understand that some of these feelings could be, quote, normal after an experience like that. But, like, I was obsessively measuring the milk that they were intaking. I was obsessively weighing them. I had to have a monitor on them at all times. I was just really so stressed. And I felt that because I had wanted to be a mom forever, and now I was blessed with the ability to be a mom, I was blessed with these beautiful human beings, that I needed to dedicate my entire life to them. I thought in order to be a good mom, you had to give up everything else. And I don't know why I had this thought in my head. I'm not sure what made me feel that way, but I really did feel like I couldn't even go pee if the baby wanted to be held. Like, then I needed to hold the pee until they had fallen asleep, and then maybe I could go and pee, let alone, like, shower or eat or, like, I don't know, do something that brought me joy other than my children. Like, I really fully thought that. And it wasn't something I was verbalizing by any means, but I just really, my whole purpose in life was to take care of my children. And I'm fully aware that, like, I think that's why I've nursed for this long too. Like, I was pumping so much at the beginning because I really wanted to be able to exclusively breastfeed the twins, and they um, struggled with food intake. Like, they couldn't tolerate their food, so they were on a feeding tube. And so because I wasn't able to take care of them because they needed extra care, I felt like the only thing I could control was pumping. And so I pumped like a crazy person, probably because I was crazy. Like, I was clearly not in a good mental space, but I never missed a pump. I never slept past my alarm. I ate oatmeal every single feed in order to produce enough milk because I knew that my food intake needed to be higher. I just it's all I could think about at all times because it was the only thing that I could control at that time. And so I've obviously carried that on. Like now I've been breastfeeding for 4.5 years straight. And some people say to me, like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, I know, like, I'm fully aware that, like, I don't get a medal for this. There's no competition here. I just think it's that is like one thing that has stayed in me because I know that it's fleeting. I know it's going to be done soon. Um, but that was just another piece of my like, if it doesn't matter if it makes me feel like shit, it doesn't matter if I'm tired, like the babies are getting what they need. Like this was the messaging that I was telling myself that I don't think is true, but it's just to show you that I was in a bad place without knowing that I was. I just thought I was being a good mom. And so I don't know when the shift necessarily happened. Like I think after I had Callie, I also had a lot of like negative feelings. Like I definitely didn't suffer from postpartum depression. I felt happy to have 3 healthy babies. I had the birth of my dreams with Callie. I felt so grateful for that. But I think that I had all these other things mentally happening that I wasn't really aware of. And I didn't really understand until now I reflect back. My postpartum rage was intense. Intense. I still felt like in order to be a good mom, I had to dedicate my whole life to my children. At the same point in time, I was loving my career and I really wanted to give into that. And I was happy in my relationship and I wanted to give into that. And I wanted to have my friendships back and I wanted all these things. And I realized I can't have them all and uphold this standard that I had for myself of being this great mom and dedicating my whole life to my kids. And so I felt pulled in 100 different directions. I was not taking care of myself. I think I was starting to maybe prioritize some time with each of my kids individually, which I think was good and healthy, but I just wasn't aware fully of my mental state and feelings. And so um, I was unhappy. I cried a lot, and I'm not a crier. Um, and I realized like I'm not fueling my body. Like I wasn't focused on my nutrition. I was focused on the kids' nutrition. I wasn't exercising. I didn't move my body in any way, shape, or form except carrying my children and meeting their needs. Um, and I had lost all of my hobbies. I didn't know what I liked to do. If somebody had asked me, what do you do for fun? I wouldn't have an answer because I didn't do anything for fun. For me, I did things for other people, but not really for me. And so I think it was like last summer, maybe, where I really was like, holy shit, I don't know who I am. I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and it wasn't the way that I looked, it was the way that I felt. I just was like, who are you? Like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like to do. I don't uh, practice any of the things that I preach. I'm telling people, take care of yourself. Um, and I don't know how to. Like, this was around the same time that I started this podcast. And so I just didn't know how to go about that or what to do. And so I sought out help. I was seeing a therapist. I went to my doctor. I was prescribed medication for anxiety and depression. I was just not happy. And then I felt guilty because of that, because here I am having all the things that I wanted. I know people struggle to have kids. I was concerned about our struggle to be able to have kids. And here I was with 3 beautiful children, a husband who loves me, and I just was not happy. And I remember my conversation with my doctor. I have a wonderful family doctor, and she said to me, I'll prescribe you this medication. You can start at a low dose so that you can work your way up. But if you feel that you have the ability to move your body and to exercise, sometimes that can have the same effect as this medication can. without any side effects. And I was like, I know that like exercise always used to make me feel better. Like before I had babies, if I was like grumpy, Mike sometimes would be like, "Have you gone to the gym today?" And the first time he said it to me, I was so pissed. And then I realized, like, no, I am a much nicer person when I move my body. And I know that that's something that I need. But I was just at a place where, like, once the kids had gotten into bed, I would sit on the couch and I physically could not move my body. I couldn't get up. I had zero motivation. I obviously didn't feel like myself. And so I had this constant battle of like, I want to be able to move my body. I want to feel better. I want to go to the gym. I know that will make me feel better, but how do I get there? I was embarrassed because I had lost my strength. I was nervous because I didn't remember how to work out anymore. I didn't know where I would go, what gym, do I hire a trainer? I was scared to even show up in a gym. So I found the strength somehow. I talked to a couple of friends and I was like, okay, I'm going to just start small. I think I was an extreme thinker. I say was. I am an extreme thinker, okay? I would think like, okay, if I'm going to go to the gym, I need at least an hour and 40 minutes because I need 20 minutes to drive to the gym. I need an hour to work out, and then I need 20 minutes to drive home. And then I'm going to be sweaty. So then I'm probably going to need time to get ready. So then half my day is gone. So if I don't have at least half a day of time, then I can't go to the gym. Like that was the way that I thought and felt. And then I realized like, no, every little bit counts. Like start small. So on days that I had 10 minutes to go for a walk, that was the movement my body was getting. But I vowed to myself that every day I was going to move my body. Sometimes it truly was just a walk around the block here at the office, just to the park and back. Other days it was at the gym. I looked up different like workout plans. I did some lean squad workouts that were like 15-minute ones for at home. I just made sure that every day my body had some type of movement for me. Not with my kids, not with anybody else, just for me. And once I started to do that and I started to feel a little bit more comfortable at the gym and I started to feel a bit more comfortable doing other like talking to people about going to the gym, like not being scared about it, seeing people at the gym, then I ended up joining CrossFit because for years I had seen videos online of CrossFit and I was like, I want to do that. I had done strength training before I had kids. And so I really loved it. And that gym had closed during COVID. So I couldn't really find something that I liked. And I was like, I really want to go, but I'm not even strong enough to lift a barbell. Like, how am I going to go there? You know? And I had been talking to the owner of the CrossFit in our town, 1827 it's called. And he was like, no, like you don't have to, everything is, you can modify. Like, don't feel intimidated. You can come in here. There's always a coach to help. They will modify anything for you. The community is great. Anyways, I did end up joining. I did my first class on New Year's Eve of 2024. So just a few months ago. And it changed my life. And so I think the main thing is that movement changed my life. You know, I all of a sudden started having more motivation. I had more energy. I wanted to do more things. I started prioritizing friendships. I started like going to dinner with my friends. I started going to more charity events that I used to do before children. I just almost recreated my life by finding myself, and movement is what started that for me. So to go back to the weight loss part, yes, the movement was part, but also diet has been part. I think I've shifted my mindset to really realize, and when I say diet, I mean food intake. I don't mean I'm on a restrictive diet. I'm not counting my calories. I'm not, um, saying I can only eat these 3 food groups or something. I think I just changed my mindset from having food as comfort to seeing food as fuel. Because now that I'm focused on lifting, like I need fuel in order to lift. And these are all things like the ironic part of this is I'm I was trying to teach myself to be a human being apart from being a mom, like outside of my kids. And the full circle moment and the ironic piece of that is that I am learning all of these things through communicating to my kids because my kids are at this really wonderful age. The twins are 4 and they notice everything, everything. And so they started to ask me, like, Mommy, where are you going? What are you doing? I see your like gym clothes. Are you going to the gym? Um, and now I've really started to say to them, like, yes, like these are things that mommy is doing to fuel her body. Like, mommy is eating these foods to fuel her body. This is why we talk about protein, we talk about vegetables, we talk about fruits, we talk about all of these things that are very important for my kids' health. And then I reflect it to myself and vice versa. And they love it. Like, they're intrigued by it. Our meal times are so much more fun because of the conversations that we get to have. They're doing some of the workouts that I'm doing. Like, Oscar loves to do lunges, Axel loves to do handstands. Like, it's just this beautiful thing that really showed me that it is true that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It doesn't make you a bad mom to do something for you or to show yourself love. In fact, I think it makes us better parents. It teaches our kids that taking care of yourself is important. These are lessons I want my children to learn. These are things I want my kids to do. And I think it's just this beautiful, beautiful thing. So, in terms of diet and the food intake that I have, or the things that I've changed, to be completely honest, when I was in that state after giving birth to Callie and trying to figure out my life and really thinking, like, who am I? What am I doing? What do I like? What do I like to do? Like, I realized it's all habits. I had a habit of having a drumstick or possibly 2, like an ice cream bar, every single night before bed. I would sit on the couch. Sometimes I wouldn't even be able to get up to get it. Like, Mike would bring me my ice cream bar. And I just thought, like, oh, totally normal. It's totally fine. And it is fine. Like, there's a time and a place. And if that's what makes you happy, that's cool. But I just was feeling sluggish, sick. My tummy hurt all the time. And I had no energy at all. And so I also, like, couldn't drive past a Tim Hortons without stopping. And I wasn't stopping to get like one thing. I was like getting a donut and a croissant and a bagel and a hash brown. And that wasn't a meal. That was like a snack for me. So I just was having these habits of getting takeout, eating my feelings away. And I just needed to change that mindset. And so I think that when I really started to focus on food as fuel, that's when it did change. Obviously, I also saved some of my bank account, which was nice because I think I was spending way too much money on food. But meal prepping was like important to me. Having foods that my kids could help me cook and also enjoy was important to me. And focusing on protein rich meals and whole foods has changed my life. So, I did a little bit of intermittent fasting, not even on purpose per se. Like, I wasn't saying, oh, I'm not eating until this time. Just my habit of routine got to what it is today. So, like, I wake up in the morning, I have a coffee, I put 2 scoops of a collagen protein in it. That's 9 grams of protein. I usually will have like an apple or a pear, and then I go to the gym. And so that's like my fuel for that workout. For lunch, I'm going to have some type of protein with a vegetable probably and some cheese because I freaking love cheese. And for dinner, we're focusing on like higher protein rich meals. And so, like, now that I have the fruit in the morning to fuel my workout, it's not really intermittent fasting. At the beginning, I definitely was. Um, but I think just focusing on whole foods and things that fuel me changed what I did, changed my life and changed my habits. And so that has been helpful for sure, no doubt. Um, and the going to the gym part, like back to CrossFit, like it has become um, a non negotiable. Like, if I have an important meeting, nothing is coming in the way of that meeting. Like, it's in my calendar, I'm going. And how come I wasn't doing that for myself? Like for my self-care. Now the gym is my important meeting. Because if I don't go to that, I'm going to feel like shit for the rest of the day. My head's probably going to hurt. I'm going to be moody. I'll probably be bitchy. I won't be the best mom I can be. I definitely won't be the best wife or friend that I can be. And so realizing that that is something that my body needs and my brain needs, life changing. It's also an incredible community of people. And so I think, like, yes, along with weight loss, along with mental clarity, has come strengthened relationships because you know how they say, like, ask if you want something done, ask a busy person? Like, that's how I feel when I'm going to the gym. I have more energy. I used to think of it as like taking my time away from my day. And now I look at it as fueling my day because I am so much more productive. I'm so much more intentional, and I have so much more to give when I have energy and my cup is full. And so I think, yeah, the mindset change is a huge piece. For me, it's starting little and knowing my body needs rest too. So today, for instance, I did not go to the gym. I'll probably go for a walk or like a little run. Um, but my body's sore. So like I know it needs rest and there's a big workout tomorrow. So I think just planning and knowing that you can be in tune with your body and knowing what your body needs is important. Um, but just the way that I feel is like so much lighter. And I do feel like so much better of a mom. Like it's wild to me to think back to the time and things that I remember, like actual conversations I was having with friends saying, like, I'm comparing myself to other people, like, oh, I'm such a good mom because I would never go for a night out. I would never go to dinner and leave my babies. I've never been away overnight. Like, I would say these things and fully believe them for myself. And now I realize, like, no, my kids should see me have relationships outside of our home. They should see that mommies are allowed to have friends because they can have friends. They should see that prioritizing yourself and things that you like and having hobbies is important. And including them in those things is such a blessing. Like CrossFit has the Open, it's called, and it's 3 weeks on Friday nights. They do a Friday night lights, and it's the same workout at all the CrossFit gyms, and then you get ranked against other people. And it's so fun because you see a community of people doing something together. You witness the relationships that people have. People are cheering people on. The energy is incredible. And people's friends and families come and watch. So my kids got to come and watch me compete in the CrossFit Open. And I was doing all scaled versions, like it wasn't anything crazy. But seeing them witness something that I love and then talk about it for weeks and weeks after was so cool and such a blessing, and really showed them that, like, if you put your mind to something, like, you can do it, and you should do things that you like and that you want to do. And having hobbies is important and make up who you are as a human being. And so all of this to say is to say that it's not about the weight loss for me. It's about knowing, especially after having kids, but also if you don't have kids, like, you are important and you should love yourself. And you're allowed to have hobbies and you're allowed to change. You don't have to continue to like the same thing that you used to like. You can find new things and new hobbies. If something has started to get boring for you or you don't like it, change that. Try new things. Like, along with my weight loss, this is my year of saying yes. I just started saying yes to things. And I've created new friendships. I have started new hobbies because of it. It's just incredible what can happen when you have an open mind and when you show yourself the same love that you show other people, especially your children. And so I hope that for those of you listening, this message isn't about diet or working out or weight loss. I hope that it is about finding yourself and standing in your truth and showing yourself love, because it is a hard thing to do. I remember when I was in that big like mom rage postpartum with Callie. I remember looking at Mike and when I say rage, like I experienced rage, okay? And I remember being like, I hate myself and like bawling. And I fully had no love in my heart for myself. And it's even hard to reflect on that and to say and to think back to that time. But that's truly how I felt. And so now to stand here and to know that I am treating myself with respect and love, I'm showing my body love by creating movement and space for movement and fuel and that I can teach my kids that. Like what a freaking blessing that is. And so I hope you take that with you. I hope that if you take one thing from this episode today, it's to show yourself love in one way. And it doesn't have to be movement. It doesn't have to be eating something healthy. It can be reading a book. It can be drinking a hot coffee. It can be starting a hobby you used to love or starting a new hobby. But I really hope that you do one thing that you love today and that it feels so good that you continue it on tomorrow and the day after and the day after. Because let me tell you, when I have a day that I haven't shown myself love, I am not in the same mindset that I am on days that I do. And then I can't show up as the best version of myself. And so I just think that that is so important. Show yourself love, show yourself respect. And it's hard. Like I didn't just all of a sudden the next day wake up and look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, I love you. Like, no. When I said I hate myself, I really truly didn't know who I was anymore. And it took months to get to a place where I can really be like, okay, I love who I am. I'm happy with who I am. I'm firm in my beliefs and values and routine and who I am as a mom. And of course, there are days where I'm like, oh my gosh, who am I? Oh my gosh, do I like to do this? Oh, what am I doing with my life? Like, don't get me wrong here. It's not like we don't have some self doubt sometimes, okay? But I will say that on days that I'm feeling low, if I move my body, I always feel better. And so find that thing for you, whatever it is. If it's joining a sport league that you like I started playing soccer again with my sister, and it's like so much fun, like life changing, all these things to like get to see my sister, get to see friends, get to move my body. Like it's just so much fun. So find that thing for you, whatever it is. Test out a few things. You might not like the first few things that you do, but once you find something that you love to do and it's your thing and you can share it with the people that love you, that is beautiful. And that is something to be so grateful for. I think part of it too is just having an identity outside of motherhood. And it's a weird thing to say when, like I said, like my whole life I wanted to be a mom. So that like consumed me. I remember when I got pregnant, I bought like 6 sweaters that said mama on it. And I had a necklace that said mom and a hat that said mom. And I just was so freaking excited to be a mom. And now having an identity outside of being a mom is pretty freaking cool to me and is important to me. And it doesn't mean spend all this time apart from your family. I'm not saying that in any regard, but have something that's just for you and be content and happy with it. And it will change your mindset too. I just think it just shows ourselves love by doing that. It shows that you have self-worth, and self-worth is such a hard thing to attain. I worked so hard to have any self-worth. I think we're our biggest critics. I will always find something about myself that I don't like. I will always nitpick my appearance, of course, but I think when you show yourself respect and you find self-worth and you have an identity outside of everything else just for you, it changes everything. I do want to note body image is very complex. I don't think that it's always about the number or about how you look or your size of clothes, because everybody asked. Obviously, I said how much weight I lost. I went from a size 16 to a size 8. I had to buy all new clothes. But that was just a byproduct of a mindset shift. Like, it wasn't about the weight, and it's still not. But I think that that's important to address too. So again, I just think, remember, like, self-care is not selfish. Say it again. Say it with me. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. In fact, it's essential. I think it's so important, and it just helps you be the best version of yourself in every single aspect of your life. So whether you're trying to be a better mom or a better friend or better in your career or anything, like, show yourself some love, some respect, take care of yourself, and those things will come, I promise. So do something for you today, whether it's starting a new workout or trying a new activity or reading a book. Just do something for you. Maybe share with me what you're doing. Send me a message or comment on some post and tell me what you're doing today, because I just know filling your cup is extremely, extremely important. Remember that you are worth it. You are enough. Show yourself love. Show yourself respect. And give yourself grace. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here for my journey. Thank you for letting me be a little bit vulnerable and share a little bit of where I'm coming from on this journey. Love you all. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Your Cup of Joy. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you've been loving this show, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Your support helps the podcast grow, it helps it reach more people, and it means the absolute world to me. So keep filling your cup with joy, and I will see you next week.